How many have major goals you'd like to achieve? And I want to ask you another question, because I've been reflecting on this. Last year I had a reoccurrence of little C cancer. 15 years ago I was diagnosed with prostate cancer and given a 2 to 3 year prognosis. One of the things I think that doctors should never tell someone they're terminally ill. What they should say is, my knowledge and ability to help you has terminated. But I've been reflecting on my life, and I want to ask you, and I know you've done things you feel good about, things that you're proud of, but how many of you know if you had your life to live over again, you could have done more than what you've done thus far? Raise your hands, please. That proves the point that what we do and what we accomplish in life is only a tip of the iceberg of what's possible for us. So I want to share some thoughts with you. I want you to think about 3 goals that you'd like to achieve in 3 areas of your life. Number 1, what's one personal goal that you'd like to achieve? When you think about that, my first personal goal was to buy my mother a home. I'm one of 7 children that my adopted mother adopted, and I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. She was a domestic worker on Miami Beach in the United States, and she cleaned homes and she kept children. And we wore the hand-me-down clothes for the children that she kept. She cooked for families, and we ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. These were very kind and generous people. They would say, Mamie, whatever food is left over, you can pack it up and take it home to those children that you have adopted. And I used to walk around these big, beautiful mansions, and I'd say, Mama. She said, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home, just like this. How many have somebody special you'd like to do something for? Raise your hands, please. Very good. We're going to show you how you can make that happen. Now I want you to think about your financial goals, growing your business, advancing your career, taking your life to the next level. I want you to think about the goals that you've set for yourself, why you've invested in yourself and being here. And whatever the goals are that you've set for yourself, and I hope you've raised the bar on yourself, I want you to multiply it 100-fold. I found that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. I found that most people fail in life because they do what I did for most of my life, aim too low and hit. And many never aim at all. Now I want you to think about your social contribution. What will be different because you showed up? Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. One of the goals I have is reduce the number of women who die from breast cancer. My mother was a 22-year breast cancer conqueror. How many men over 40? Raise your hands, please. Men over 40, very good. One of the goals every time I speak, I encourage men to get their PSA test, which stands for prostate-specific antigen, and their digital rectal examination. And I'll be glad they can check our prostate by looking in our ears. You know, there's got to be a better way. I'm turning red as I talk about it, but you can't see it. A friend of mine was at a medical convention. Hey, Les, let me give you a free rectal. I said, no, buddy, you too motivated. Homie, don't roll like that, you know? One of the goals I have is teaching people how to tell their story, how to grow their business, be the voice of their business, how to improve the customer service, how to develop their leadership voice, how to go from being local to being global. I want you to think about the things that you want to do in your life, the kind of impact that you want to make. And as you think about those three categories, let us say together with conviction, it's possible. Together, please. Everybody together, please. Say it's possible. You know, the easiest thing I do is come up here prepared to speak for you. But the most difficult thing that I've ever done, and took me years to do, was to believe that I could do it. Given my beginning, born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida, called Liberty City, with a twin brother, being adopted, being labeled educable, mentally retarded in the 5th grade and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, and failing again in the 8th grade, and not having any college education. And if both my birth parents stood up and said, "Hello, son," I would not know either one. You know, I saw a movie late one night, and in this movie called Magnolia, Tom Cruise, and there was a line in there that said, "We might be through with our past, but our past is not through with us." How many of you know there are things that we've experienced that can impact the way we see ourselves? Raise your hand as you understand that. And so as you look at yourself and look at your goals, I want you to write this down. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. You have to create an achiever's mindset, and that you have to create that yourself. My favorite book says, "Be ye not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." And what you're doing right now is an indication of what's most important as you begin to invest in yourself, setting aside a time to be here. This is the era what the late Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. So as you look at yourself and look at your goals, setting aside time every day to work on your mindset, to expand your vision of what's possible for you. They did an interview with Warren Buffett, one of the richest men on the planet, as you're aware. And they asked him, "What's the most important investment people can make today?" And this was in the middle of the recession in the United States. Here's a guy that has billions of dollars in real estate, billions of dollars in the stock market, and he said the most important investment you can make is in yourself. Everybody repeat after me, please. Live full. Die empty. Say it again. Live full. Die empty. After having 238 radiation seed implants, I was reading one night some words by Dr. Howard Thurman, who was a mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., to Albert Schweitzer, to Mahatma Gandhi. He wrote, "Deep is the hunger, the voice of the genuine, the centering moment." As I was reflecting on his words, he said, "The ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over." He said, "But imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the talents given to you by life, but you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never acted on those ideas. You never used those gifts. You never used those talents. And there they are staring at you as you're lying on your bed with large, angry eyes saying, 'We came to you. Only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever.' And the question is, if you died today, what dreams, what talents, what abilities, what gifts, what ideas would die with you?" One minister out of Bahamas said, "The wealthiest place on the planet is not in the Far East where there's oil on the ground. It's not in South Africa where there are diamond mines." He said, "The wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery. There you see potential never realized. There you find books never written. There you find ideas never acted on." Maybe that's why Henry David Thoreau said, "Oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived, only to realize that you've never scraped the surface of your potential." Let us say again, live full, die empty. And so as you think about your goals and dreams, I'm suggesting that you set aside time every day, if you're not doing it already, reading 10 to 15 pages of something positive every day, listening to audio programs, investing in yourself to expand your mind for what is possible, to develop a spirit of optimism. And then the next thing is, let us say together, it's necessary. You see, not only is it possible that you can live your dream and that you have to sell yourself on that every day. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. I didn't do this for 14 years because I convinced myself I couldn't do it. I would go see the late Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and the late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and I saw Tony Robbins, and my heart said, I can do that. How many like to help people? Raise your hands, please. I said, I can do that. And then when I would go to the parking lot, my inner voice would become activated and say, Les Brown, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les Brown, you can't do that. You've never worked for a major corporation. Les Brown, you can't do that. Who wants to hear anything you've got to say? How many ever thought about something you wanted to do and you talked yourself out of it? Raise your hands, please. So that's why it's necessary that we work on ourselves. And let us say together, OQP. Only quality people. Write that down. As you think about your goals and dreams over the next 2 years, over the next 2 days, it's very important that you look at the people in your life and you ask the question, what is this relationship doing to me? MIT did a study. The study indicated that you earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. Whoa, when I heard that, I got a lot of broke people out of my life. My mama said, son, if you run around with 9 broke people, I guarantee you'll become number 10. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough out of Atlanta said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. So as you think about your goals and dreams, detoxify your life. Les, can I change them? No. It's a full-time job changing yourself. And there's some people that's so negative they can walk into a dark room and begin to develop. And so it's very important that you look at the people that's in your circle and begin to understand, are you growing mentally and emotionally and spiritually and professionally? Are they an asset to you or a liability to you? The other thing is, as you look at your goals and look at your dreams, let us repeat this, please. Make you move before you're ready. Yeah, write that down. See, I said, well, I don't have a college education. I don't have any paper or alphabets behind my name. And I realized that if you want to make it in life, you want to make your mark, you've got to become a risk taker. Viscount said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? I like what Helen Keller says. She says, life is short and unpredictable. Eat the dessert first. So you have something special. You're here because there's something in your heart of hearts that said, I want more. I can do more. You're here because you're different. How many of you know people who should be here? Raise your hands, please. Yeah, so you're here because you're different, you're uncommon. One man said, I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the still calm of utopia. I will never cow before any master, nor bend to any threat. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. Give yourselves a round of applause for having an uncommon desire to reach your goals, to achieve something great with your life. Bring your level of energy up. So as you look at yourself, not only must we begin to upgrade our relationships, but the other thing is, as you look at your goals and look at your dreams, write this down. You will fail your way to success. See, 85% of people allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. You're going to make some mistakes, and it's okay. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing badly. It's worth doing right if you know how to do it, but if you don't know how to do it, it's worth doing badly until you get it right. You have to be willing to experiment with life. I've done a variety of things and I had absolutely no idea I had the ability to do those things. Here's what I can say about you, and I don't even know you. You've got greatness within you, but you will not discover your greatness in your comfort zone. You've got to be willing to get outside of your comfort zone, because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been. And most people, they go to their graves with their greatness still in them. Maybe that's why one woman said in a moment of anguish, what if you live your whole life only to discover that it was wrong? Here's something else as you think about your goals and dreams. What's your why? Why do you want to do it? What drives you? This is my mother. She was 46 years old when she adopted first Wesley and I, and then 5 other children. And she was a driving force in my life. Which one am I? On the right or the left? I'm the cute one. Which one am I now? I'm the one on the left, all right? Yes, indeed. And as you think about your goals and dreams, think about somebody that you love, that inspired you, someone that you love, that you admire. And I think about my background, and this is Wesley and I eating sugar cane. And you can see we were not born with a silver spoon in our mouths. Y'all eat sugar cane here in Australia? Anybody ever had sugar cane? Most of you have not. Just 2 people here. Yeah, it's sweet. It's interesting though. You know, we were born in the area of Florida where you eat sugar cane. Donald Trump, father gave him $200 million to become successful. How many of you know if I give you $200 million, you got a good shot at becoming successful? Raise your hands, please. My mama gave us 2 pieces of sugar cane, and we had an advantage. The room always get quiet when I say that. Donald Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. If you had a choice between eating a silver spoon and eating sugar cane, which one would you eat? Sugar cane? I told you we had an advantage. That's what I'm talking about. And then I met someone who changed my life. See, what we do and what we accomplish in life is a result of the story we believe about ourselves. And I met this friend, I was a disc jockey at the time, and he said, Les Brown, you're more than a disc jockey. Les Brown, you're more than a paycheck. Les Brown, you can do more. How many of you had somebody see something in you you didn't see in yourself? Raise your hands, please. And I couldn't see it at the time, but he continued to talk to me. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And eventually I became an entrepreneur. I began to book concerts, and not just doing a radio show, but I invited entertainers to come to town. And these little guys came in 1973. There I am standing in the back. That's Michael Jackson there at 10 years of age in 1973. I didn't know who they were going to become. They didn't know who I was going to become. The hand that you shook in the audience, you have no idea whose hand you just shook. You don't know who they are. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for that person whose hand you just shook. That person, they have greatness within them, and you have greatness within you. And to prove it, you were chosen 1 out of 400 million sperm. There's something in you. When God said, I want you, I want you, I want you, I want you. There's something you have that the world needs now. If you don't give it to us, we will all be deprived. And so as you think about your goals and dreams, how many of you like to make a difference in your community? Raise your hands, please. You have the ability to do that. I ran for the Ohio legislature. Had no idea I had the ability to do that. Passed 14 bills my first term. You have greatness within you. You can make more impact than you can ever begin to imagine when you're willing to challenge yourself. Let us say together, leap. Everybody together say, leap. And grow your wings on the way down. Yeah, see, one of the things about life, you're going to get hurt. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to fail your way to success. But you got to be willing to experiment. You got to be willing to push yourself. You got to be willing to challenge yourself by putting yourself in a perpetual state of discomfort. And so the things happen in life. When you have goals and dreams, things happen. I had no idea. Midway of my 3rd term, my mother became ill. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. My brothers and sisters called me and said they're going to put her in a nursing home. And I said, no. They said, we thought you would say that. We've interviewed the best nursing homes in Dade County. I said no. So I had a problem. How can one woman raise 7 children who couldn't take care of themselves, but 7 grown people couldn't take care of one woman? I had a problem with that. And I said, no. So I resigned from the Ohio legislature and I came back to Miami to take care of Mama. And took care of her until 89. And there are things, as you have your goals, things are going to happen to you that you can't anticipate. Some of you are in the eye of the storm now. Things are going to happen. And don't say, why does it have to happen to me? Why not you? Who would you suggest? You want to give us some names or email addresses? That's really what I said the second time I got cancer. They told me the cancer metastasized in 7 areas of my body. I started laughing. He said, why are you laughing? Are you in denial? I said, no, I feel like Mother Teresa. He said, what do you mean? She said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I just wish you didn't have so much confidence in me. There's times in your life when things are going to happen that you've got to begin to put your dream on hold. And you might have to reinvent yourself. How many have already gone through that? Raise your hands, please. It's called life. And don't tell everybody about it. 80% don't care, and 20% glad it's you. You have to suck it up and handle it. That's what it's called being in business, being an entrepreneur, being a risk taker, walking by faith and not by sight. Stuff happens to you. And so I had to go in a new direction. And I decided to tell my story. How many of you got a story? Raise your hands, please. How many of you have gone through some things in life that you can teach some other people? Raise your hands, please. How many of you, like me, had periods in your life when you were temporarily insane? Raise your hands. See, there are some people, one of the goals I have is training 100,000 voices of hope outside of politics and outside of religion, both of which I believe unwittingly polarize and divide people, and teach people how to deliver a message of hope and give people methods and techniques that will help them to change their lives and begin to move their lives to another level. You have something special. You have greatness within you. That story that you have can impact people's lives. Mike Williams talked to me, and it changed my life. It began to expand my vision. How many of you have a college education? Raise your hands, please. Very good. Over 90%. How many ever give a lecture at Harvard University? Raise your hands, please. No hands up. That's in your future. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, that's in my future. That's in my future. Everybody point at me right now. Point at me right now. Point at me lovingly right now. Say, Les Brown. Everybody together say, Les Brown. If you can do it, I can do it. And this time when you say, I can do it, say it with conviction. Point at me again. Les Brown. If you can do it, I can do it. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, I'm ready to play a bigger game. Do that right now. Say, I'm ready to play a bigger game. Absolutely. Yes. It says you look at yourself and look at your goals. There's some things that you can do when you challenge yourself, when you go outside your comfort zone. There are things that will come in the direction of your life that you can't even begin to imagine. That you're going to begin to evolve and go to new levels that will amaze you. And I tell you these things not to impress you, but to impress upon you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. And so what I'm suggesting that you do is to stretch yourself. That you constantly look for ways as an entrepreneur, how can you begin to set yourself apart from the competition? What is it that you can do that can make you stand out? What are the market takeaways that you can do? One of the things that I learned as a speaker, and as a trainer, as an entrepreneur, and a small business operator is that you've got to find something that you love and that you master that. Henry David Thoreau said, do not go where the path may lead, but go where there's no path and leave a trail. As you look at yourself as a business operator, as you look at yourself as an entrepreneur, as you look at yourself as a person that want to make a mark with your life, that want to leave a legacy, you've got to be hungry. Let us say together, I'm hungry. to do more. I'm hungry to stretch myself. I'm hungry to take my life to another level. I never forget this gentleman that I'm going to talk with tomorrow. He's now in his 90s. He's blind from glaucoma. And I never forget, he said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me. And I said, oh, sir, I can't do that. He says, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, look at me. Yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I said, I can't, sir. The other students started laughing. They said, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley is smart. He's DT. He said, what's DT? He's the dumb twin. And I said, I am, sir. As the students laughed, as some of you did, and he came from behind his desk, he looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that was a turning point in my life. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. He said, young man, what do you want to do with your life? I said, sir, I want to make my mother proud, sir. He said, how do you plan to do that? I said, when I get out of high school, I'd like to be a disc jockey. He said, is that right? I said, yes, sir. He said, good. I'm going to tell you some things to do. I said, what is this? He says, number one, he said, I want you to work on your mind. He said, here's some motivation materials I want you to listen to by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Earl Nightingale. Train your thinking. Write this down. This is very important. What you think about, you bring about. He said, I want you to train your mind to serve you. And I want you to focus on becoming a disc jockey every day. I want you to see yourself on the radio talking to thousands of people. I want you to see yourself doing the things that you want to accomplish. Hold the vision. And I encourage you to do the same thing, whatever area, whatever you want to do, whatever business that you're in, whatever industry that you're in. You want to see yourself there and hold the picture of what it is you want to accomplish. And I said, sir, I want to be a disc jockey, but I don't have a job yet. And then he quoted Whitney Young. He said, young man, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. He said, you got to be hungry. I said, I am hungry, sir. He said, good. Here are my car keys. At 12 noon, I want you to go in my car and turn on the radio and listen to Paul Harvey. Who is Paul Harvey, sir? He's the world's greatest communicator. He said, whatever you want to do, you want to find people who master that because success leaves clues. And that's the same thing I'm suggesting to you. Whatever area that you want to go in it's finances, in business, insurance industry, whatever area that you're interested in, find the people who are mastering that and follow their example. He said, and let me share something else. I said, yes, sir. He said, watch your relationships. They're nourishing relationships and they're toxic relationships. Nourishing relationships, they bring the best out of you. They inspire you. Toxic relationships, they drain you. I said, I will, sir. I do exactly what you're telling me to do, sir. And then he said, Mr. Brown, yes, sir. I'm giving you everything I can give you. You've got to go out into the marketplace and face the music. I said, thank you, sir. I went to apply for a job on Miami Beach. Milton Butterball Smith was the program director. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. Young man, do you have any journalism in your background? No, sir, I don't. Do you have experience in broadcasting? No, sir, but I visualize myself being on the air every day, sir. I practice. All I want is a shot. Just give me a shot. He says, no, we don't have any job for you. Have you ever been rejected? Raise your hands, please. I was devastated with rejection. I went back and I said, hey, Mr. Washington, they said no. He said, don't take it personally. Most people are so negative, they have to say no 7 times before they say yes. He said, you got to be hungry. Go back again. I said, yes, sir. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. Young man, weren't you here yesterday? Yes, sir. Didn't I tell you no yesterday? Yes, sir. Then why are you back today? Well, sir, I didn't know whether or not somebody was laid off or somebody was fired, sir. Nobody was laid off or fired. Now get on out of here. I came back the next day.
Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. I know what your name is. Weren't you here the last 2 days? Yes, sir. Didn't I tell you no the last 2 days? Yes, sir. Then why are you back today? Well, sir, I didn't know whether or not someone got sick or someone died, sir. No one got sick or died. No one was laid off or fired. Now, don't you come back here again. I came back the next day, talking loud, looking happy, like I was seeing him for the first time. I said, hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you? He looked at me with rage. He says, go get me some coffee. I said, yes, sir. My favorite book says the greatest among you will be your servant. How many of you are serious about reaching your goals? Raise your hands, please. Here's something I encourage you to write this down. Provide more service than you get paid for. As small business operators, you're going to do market takeaways. You've got to provide more service than you get paid for. You've got to build relationships with people. You got to be able to tell your story because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. You've got to look for ways, as a lady who became the dominant force in her industry, and they said, how did you get here? In an industry that's dominated by men, and she said, it's not our intention to please our customers or to satisfy our customers. Our intention is to amaze them with the quality of the service that we provide for them. And so you have to literally amaze your customers. Go above and beyond as you begin to anticipate what their needs are and look for ways in which you can begin to impact them. And so as you look at your goals and dreams, the people that are willing to do that are hungry. He said, Mr. Brown, go face the music. I went to apply for this job 3 different times. They said no. Finally, they asked me to become the errand boy for the disc jockeys. I'd go get their lunch and their dinner, and I'd stand in the control room knowing my time would come. Let us say together, my time will come. And on the weekends, they would come out to the parking lot, and their cars be waxing clean, inside out. They said, hey, who did this? Write this down. Give before you ask. Give before you ask. I was just trying to get my foot in the door. I wanted to establish a reputation of being a go-to person, a person of resourcefulness, a person that's relentless and unstoppable, a person that can get things done. I said, I did, sir. How much you charge? Nothing, sir. I just wanted to help out. I was building relationships. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Look here. Donna Ross and the Supremes are coming to town. The Four Tops and the Temptations. Here are my car keys. Pick them up and take them to the Fontainebleau Hotel on Miami Beach. It'll be my pleasure to serve you, sir. I was driving these entertainers in the disc jockeys' big long Cadillacs. I didn't have any driver's license, but I was driving like I had some. Then one day, it was a Saturday afternoon, a disc jockey by the name of Rockin' Roger was drinking while he was on the air. Rockin' Roger got so drunk, he could not complete the show. He began to stutter his words. He was about to fall off the chair. It was a Saturday afternoon, and I was the only one there, looking at him through the control room window, walking back and forth, young, ready, and hungry. I was saying, drink, rock, drink. Drink, rock. I'd have gone and get him some more if he'd asked me to. Then pretty soon the phone rang. It was the general manager and answered the phone. I said, hello? He said, young boy, this is Mr. Klein. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish his program. I said, I know. He said, would you call one of the other DJs in? I said, yes, sir. I hung the phone up. I said, now he must think I'm crazy. I called my mama and my girlfriend, Cassandra. I said, y'all come out on the front porch and turn on the radio. I'm about to come on the air. I waited for about 20 minutes, and then I called him back. I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, young boy, you know how to work the controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, go in there and segue the records, but don't you say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I couldn't wait to get old Rock out of the way. I put on a fast record. I said, look out, this is me, LB Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. Get the old man a round of applause. I was hungry. I was hungry. Shake someone's hand on your right and left, look them in the eyes and say, you got to be hungry. Do that right now. Shake someone's hand and say, you got to be hungry. People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. People that are hungry believe, always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. People that are hungry know if you want to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. I didn't do what I'm doing right now because it was hard. How many of you decided not to do something because it was hard? Raise your hands, please. I want you to write this down. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. Complain, point at your circumstances, give up your power, blame the government, blame the economy. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. It's hard to make a radical change in your behavior. It's hard to take ownership. It's hard to swallow the bitter pill that wherever you find yourself, at some point in time, you made an appointment to be there. That's hard. That's hard. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. If you do what is hard, your life will be easy. I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what you want to do with your life. Here's what I know about your being here. That there's something in you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. And I submit to you, the reason that you're here is that in your heart of hearts, you've said, I'm going to pull my own strings. I say to you, the reason that you're here is something about you that says, I'm going to control my own destiny. There's something about you that when you pointed your fingers at your circumstances, you realized you had three pointing at yourself. So I want to dedicate something to you that my mother loved to hear me say. Mama was a 22-year breast cancer conqueror. I want to dedicate this to you, to the achiever in you, to the greatness in you, to the unexpressed gifts, talents, and abilities that you have in you that's hungry to get out. And it says simply this. Leslie, yes, ma'am, Mama. Say that thing for me, boy, that it makes me feel good. It says simply this. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that your dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish, or gulf, sickness or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want. I want to ask you a question. What are your fears? What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? Because we all have fears, don't we? We all have something that's blocking us, that's holding us back. And as we begin to look at life, what we realize is that the reason that most people are not living out their true potential, are not doing all of the things that they would really like to do, is because of fear. Some people call fear false evidence or expectations appearing real. I'm reminded of the story of a guy that was living in an area where he had some new neighbors, and these neighbors had a bulldog. And when he came home every day, this bulldog used to chase him about a half a block from his house. Every day, he would have to streak home. I mean, he would just run. This bulldog would be right on his heels. And so he just got tired of that, because he would go home about a half a block away from home. He would look around for this bulldog, and he wouldn't see him. And he would go walking casually along, and this bulldog come out of nowhere, woo, 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 and start chasing him, and he'd run home. So this one day, he just got tired. And so when the bulldog was running after him, he started running. He saw a rock, and he stopped to pick it up to throw at the bulldog. And when the bulldog got up on him, he started barking. He realized the bulldog didn't have any teeth in his mouth. Then he started chasing the bulldog. If you don't get all away from it, because the most the bulldog could have done is gummy, you know. And so, you know what? Most people go through life running scared. Running scared from things that have no teeth in them, because they're false expectations appearing real. That, see, we're brilliant enough to scare ourselves to death. You realize that? There are some people actually who get a kick out of scaring themselves to death. I remember the last frightening movie I saw. It was The Exorcist. I will never forget. I was so frightened when I came home. I'll never forget. I drove in the driveway, and I had already called my former wife and said, listen, turn the lights on. I was coming in the driveway, and I was getting out of the car, and all of a sudden I couldn't get out. I started blowing my horn. I said, Madeline, they got me, they got me. She came to the kitchen with and said, take your seatbelt loose, fool. I said, oh, okay. I was frightened out of my wits. But there are a lot of people who, they get off on that. They love it. I'm a person, my brother is a paratrooper. My twin brother, he's in the military, career man. I would love to jump out of an airplane to parachute. I'm scared, though. I mean, I really admire my brother for that. I would really love to be macho man like that. What are the things that you fear that's been keeping you from living your dream? That's been keeping you from doing some things that you would like to do? Just think about those things. And how do we begin to handle that? Abraham Maslow said that life is about growth. And he said, you can either go back to your comfort zone, and there you won't find any growth, or you must be willing to go forward and face your fears again and again and again. Because you're never going to have a fear-free existence. I mean, some fear is acceptable and legitimate. There are some things that you really should be afraid of. Now, you shouldn't allow it to immobilize you. You acknowledge it, you take it into account, and you carry yourself accordingly. There are times that we should proceed with caution. But it's the difference between being stopped by fear. It's the difference between having a fear and the fear having you. So what do we do? One, acknowledge it. And knowing that it's okay. Don't condemn yourself for being afraid. It's perfectly fine to have some fears. You acknowledge your fears, you embrace those fears, and then you move on. You act on whatever it is that you fear. Because once you embrace it, see, what you resist will persist. What you resist will persist. So one of the most important things is to begin to embrace your fear. The fear of bodily harm, that's legitimate. When I was a disc jockey in Columbus, Ohio, you know, I was young, about 22, 23, thought I was tough, and I was on the air,
And Al Green, who was a great performer at that time and still is now singing gospel music, had a record. His first hit record was Back Up Train. So a guy came in the town and was impersonating Al Green. I happened to know Al Green because I'd already booked him. And so when I found out this guy was impersonating Al Green, I came on the air and did an editorial about him, and I exposed him. He was a rather big fellow, and so he had the word out that when I see this guy Les Brown, the disc jockey, I'm going to knock him in the mouth for having a big mouth. So I was driving down Main Street in Columbus, Ohio, had my son in a car, and I always had this little saying, hey, if anybody will put a threat out on me, I'm going to make them honor it. So I saw this guy in the street. So I pulled around. I said, excuse me, I'll be right back. Got out of the car. I said, hey, man, I heard you said that you were looking for me. I'm Les Brown. He said, you are? I said, yeah. I said, what is it? I'm the one that said that you were an imposter. I said, I want to know what you're going to do about it. He opened his coat and he had a gun there. I say, but whatever I said to hurt your feelings, I want you to know it's all right. Acknowledge your fears, carry yourself accordingly, and do what makes sense for you. Well, one major fear I've always had is a fear of the dentist. And this fear had me. I didn't have that fear. And what really reinforced it, you got to watch things that can feed your fear. I saw a movie that most people would not remember. This movie was starring Dustin Hoffman. It's called The Marathon Man, with Laurence Olivier, when he's trying to get a confession out of him. And he took this drill out. Let me tell you something. When he went in Dustin Hoffman's mouth with that drill, I had $1 worth of popcorn. That popcorn went everywhere. Oh! You know, I could not go to the dentist for 5 years. I had left broadcasting, went to the Ohio legislature, had an impacted wisdom tooth. Now that hurts. And I would call, and as soon as the people would answer the phone, I would hang up. That's how frightened I was. Dr. Hamler's office, boom, I'd hang up. Then I got to the point where I could just ask for an appointment. Hello? And I wouldn't give my real name. Because I knew I wasn't going to keep it. I'd give anybody's name. Joe Jiggly Jim, it didn't matter. And pretty soon I got to the point where I could give my name. It was about 4 years after that, you know. So my name is Les Brown. Then I would call back and say, look here, due to my legislative agenda, I won't be able to make it. So the lady finally said on the phone, she said, you're scared, aren't you? I said, no, I'm not. She said, then why don't you come in? I said, that's none of your business. She said, you're not coming in because you're scared. I wish you just would not waste our time. And she hung up. I said, you have no right to do that to people like me, you know. So finally, to make a long and short of it, I was hurting so bad. I said, wait a minute, I've got to do something. And I said, what am I afraid of? Go there and handle it. I said, man, I said, Dr. Hamler, I just can't hear this drill. I mean, if you can do whatever, I don't need to hear this drill, that sound. You know, that's what gets me, that drill. Don't pull that drill out on me. He said, just calm down, calm down. And it wasn't really bad as I thought it was. One of the things you find out that when you face your fears, it's not as bad as you think it is. And when people tell you, I just can't do it, I can't handle it, I mean, really, I can't handle it, what they're envisioning is that they're not going to be it. They're going to clock out like you're going to die. And guess what? We all had occasions when we confronted our fears, we had to do something we felt uncomfortable with, we didn't want to do it, and we did not die. They didn't come take us and put us in a box somewhere. Am I right? So what we've got to begin to do, how do we handle that? What's the process? Because it's all up in here. One, I think, is imagine the worst case scenario. I just imagine that he went in my mouth and with this drill and that I just croaked out. Then I imagine, that's the worst case scenario. Then I had another technique I used. Visualize yourself being more than able and capable of handling it. And I used to have a tremendous inferiority complex about speaking before people that I felt who had more going for them than I did. Because I'm not college trained, I used to feel that college people were the most intelligent people on the planet. And there was nothing I had to say for them. And what will they listen to me for? That's the way I felt. And so I had to visualize myself speaking before them,
speaking before various audiences that had more going for them than I did, and realize and appreciate my own value, and that I was a worthwhile person, even though I didn't have all going for me. I didn't have the money, I didn't have the education that they had. So part of the process is seeing yourself, being worthy, being capable, having what you need to make you a worthwhile person, and that you're more than able, and that you deserve to be listened to, or you deserve to have that dream and that passion or whatever it is that you see and envision there. You've got to see it in your mind's eye and know that you've got what it takes. Repeat after me, please. I must see in my mind's eye. See myself. Confronting my fears. Handling my fears. I'm more than able. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, you got the right stuff. So deciding as you look at your life, as you look into the future and say, what fears am I holding on to? What fears that I'm allowing to imprison me, that's keeping me from breaking out, that's keeping me from living up to my true potential, that's keeping me from really being happy, that's keeping me from having a sense of adventure and excitement in my life? What's keeping me from controlling my destiny? What fears that I'm giving that permission to? Notice what I said, that we must give our permission to fear to immobilize us. Because whatever discomfort you experience, whatever challenges or difficulty that it is, you got to handle it. Got to go up in there and wrestle with it. Will it be easy? No. Will it be challenging? Yes. A friend of mine who's going into recovery. He's been addicted to crack cocaine for years and alcohol. And he was talking about how challenging it was, and while he was dreading going into cold turkey. I said, what do you want me to tell you? That it's going to be a picnic? No, it's not. It's going to kick your butt? Yes, it is. Are you going to want to die? Yes, that's a part of it. But that's just what you must go through in order to get where you want to go. And guess what? You are strong enough to do it. You're strong enough, and your life is worth whatever you have to go through to get past this addiction. Whatever you have to do. This dream you got, whatever you want to do, will it be easy to just run out there and do it? No. Will it happen overnight? No. Will it be a struggle? Yes. Will there be times when you can't make ends meet? Yes, that's a part of it. Will there be times you won't know what to do? Yes, that's a part of it. Will you have some opposition? Will things go wrong sometimes? You will have many visits from Murphy. Now, if you're saying, well, who's Murphy? Don't worry. Somebody must have told us someplace along the line, I don't know where, but somebody must have told people, oh, life is going to be real easy. No. If they told you that, I've got a special announcement. They lied. I'll never forget, I had a special piece of legislation I wanted to get passed, and I said to a guy, I said, look, can I count on your vote? He said, yes. And look here, if I can't count on it, let me know. There's another guy that owes me a chip, and I can call on that. And I won't need your vote, but I do need it if you say you're going to do it, do it. You say you can count on it. Legislation came up, he voted against my bill passed. I went back to him and said, hey, I told you I needed the vote, but if you couldn't give it up, let me know, I would get somebody else. I said, why did you tell me that? He said, I lied. I was in shock. How many of you that life just wore you out? That you didn't expect that? You thought you'd go to school, get good grades, get a job, and you came out here and you'll be able to get a job and live happily ever after, and you say, they lied. Yes, they did. They never told me, you know that song said, Mama told me there'll be days like this. They didn't even tell us that. Isn't that something about life is challenging? I mean, it's some stuff you get out here, you didn't read it in a book nowhere. Didn't nobody warn you that it was going to come down on you like this? That's called life. There are all kind of challenges like that. So what's the next piece is that you accept yourself, then you accept the fear as a fact and not a force. See, when you accept yourself and you accept fear as a fact, that means that it's something that happens. It's something that you're going to experience, but it is not a force to hold you back. It doesn't have any special power other than that you give it. So you accept the fact that you are afraid, and then you move on anyhow. You move on past it, and you do whatever you've got to do. I was in a big motivational rally for a gentleman by the name of Dexter Yeager down in the Carolinas. I was standing backstage, and I had to go out. I was the last speaker on the program. It's the first time I'd been in a stadium of this size, over 10,000 people. You couldn't see the people because the lights are just blaring in your eyes, called Free Enterprise Day. I was afraid. My heart was beating fast. I was just pacing back and forth. And Dexter said, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah." "Yeah, I'm all right." So I said, "Wait a minute, just calm down. Calm yourself. Hold it. It's all right, Les. It's all right. All right. Just be as scared as you can be." See, that's why I say embrace that fear. Just try and see how scared you can really get. And start breathing deep. So the guy came back and said, "Are you about to die or something?" I said, "No, I'm fine." But after I started embracing it and trying to make myself as afraid as I can get, and imagine what's the worst thing, and I can go out there and do my mind go blink and I faint on stage, then the longer they gave me my check. I started laughing at myself. I started talking to myself. I said, "You know you scared today?" And I said, I just calmed myself down. And I went out there and I cooked. And that's what you got to do. I had another experience where I was at a major corporation, and it was one of my first major presentations I was going to do for this corporation. And I had 4 other presenters that had large firms. And one of the things that you've got to do is you've got to watch your inner conversation and discipline your thinking and your imagination, because if you don't, your mind will take you on a wild trip. So my mind said, "Hey, Les." I said, "What?" "These guys are going to wipe you out. You can't compete with them." Because I heard these guys sitting over across from me, and they were talking about all that they had going for them. And so I started doubting myself, and I became afraid, and I was thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't go in there. And so I knew then, and this is what I suggest to you, sometimes you got to talk to yourself. Talking to yourself, you know, be a good exercise. It might be the only intelligent conversation you ever get. So I got up and I went to the bathroom. I started talking to myself, said, "Les Brown, let me tell you something. What do you care about these guys and their firms and all their money? You got 6 children you've got to feed. You got a mama you've got to take care of home. You ain't got nothing to lose." I went in that room and looked at those people. I said, "Don't you do nothing till you hear from me." And I got that contract too. You gotta do it. So when you have your lower self talking to you, telling you what you can't do, part of what you've got to do is be your own motivator. And you can't talk casually to yourself. You can't say around, "Sit down. You must calm down now." No, that subconscious mind won't hear that. You've got to have a good conversation to yourself. Hey, and answer yourself too. Don't pay these people any attention. You answer yourself, "Hey, what you gonna do?" "I'm going there and get off." "All right, very good. Go in there and take care of business." You've got to talk to yourself, and you build yourself up, and you'll feel your energy level coming up, and people will feel that around you. See, now, if you go through life being afraid, people can sense that. They can pick up that fear. So that's why you've got to stand up inside yourself. I'm reminded of the little boy that was on a bus, and some bigger fellows were picking at him, you know? And so he wanted to move from by them. They were thumping him on the head. And so he stood up just to get from by them, and they would push him back down. He would stand up again. They push him back down. And he stood up again. They pushed him down, held him down. He said, "You might hold me down, but I'm standing up inside myself." And that's what you got to do in life. See, when you are not filling your life with the things that you are capable of doing, see, we all have some stuff that we've been given. And I don't think that it's optional for us to sit on what we have. See, if you're sitting on what you have, what you've been given, and I think everybody's been given something to bring to the planet, that only you can do that, only you can perform that, only you can initiate that activity. And if you don't do that, if you're not filling in your life with your life work or your mission, then there are gaps in your life. And what we do when we're not living out our true identity, we begin to fill the gaps. We fill the holes with garbage. Alcohol, drugs, worry, self-destructive behavior. So when you begin to look at your life and you know that you're not doing what you can do because you have allowed yourself to be held captive by your fears. Now, when you don't have a true appreciation and acceptance for who you are, and you allow yourself to be immobilized by fear, what happens in the process is that you begin to abuse yourself. You begin to sabotage your life, you begin to sabotage your dreams, you begin to unconsciously work against yourself. You become your own worst enemy. So what do you do about that? Well, you begin to realize that your dream and your gifts have so much meaning and so much value for you till your hunger for them will begin to push you past the fear. Your hunger to have them will give you a special drive. As you work on yourself, as you begin to acknowledge your true identity, the true power that you have, the true capacity you have to bring about change, the miracle-working power that you have within yourself to do the things that you want to do. When you take them on, I'm reminded of a man who, this gentleman was doing a special study of a special tribe in Africa, headhunters. And he had difficulty in developing a relationship with these tribesmen because of the fact that he had fear. He had fear they would take his head. I tell you, all fears aren't bad. That was a legitimate fear. That was a good fear to give you a headache. So he worked there for a long time with no effort, no progress in developing a relationship and rapport and being able to achieve a level of trust. So finally one night while he was in bed, he was thinking about it. I said, what is it that you came here to do? What is your life work as a missionary? He said, I wanted to study these tribesmen. He said, what's the worst thing that they can do to you? Kill you. And he just decided, hey, this is what I came here to do. I know that there's some risk involved, and I'm going to do it, come what may. He said, I'm not going to be afraid of it. He went back the next day, and he started doing the work and trying to talk to and interview many of the members of this tribe. And they began to respond to him. They threw out the welcome mat to him. And years later, when people came to see what his progress was, they asked him, how were you able to do this? How did you convert the relationship from being hostile to that of being positive? And he said something I think has value for all of us. He said, when life can no longer threaten you with death, he said, what else is there? What else is there? And the majority of the fears that we have are not life or death fears. They're not those kind of fears. But through our imagination, we blow them out of proportion and we give them more power than they actually have or deserve, and we permit them to govern our lives. We permit them to determine how far we can stretch out on our dreams and discovering our stuff. And as we begin to look at ourselves and begin to, wait a minute, just getting to the point as you assess yourself and begin to prove yourself and just say, wait, hold a minute. I've been sweating this out. What's the worst thing that can happen to me on this? Will it kill me? Will I die? Why am I going through all of these changes over this? How much power does this really have? And am I the one that's feeding the power into it? See, a lot of times we allow ourselves to be fed and to be programmed and to being afraid. I mean, you watch the news and read the newspaper, you'll be scared to come out the house. Am I right? You'll be afraid. So what kinds of things, what kinds of thoughts are you feeding your consciousness? What kind of things are you putting in your mind that will enable you to either move forward or to justify why you're staying where you are? Another piece that I look at, that when I finally decided that I was going to go to the dentist, the pain was so great, I couldn't hold out any longer. All of a sudden, the fear didn't matter. I can't but take me. Now, some people need fear, you know. I have a friend that we told him, hey, man, you know, you need to lose some weight. You're getting overweight and out of shape, and at our age, we need to have a regular program. And Bud said, man, I've been fat since I was a little boy. I'm big bone. I've never seen a fat skeleton, though, you know. Well, Bud became ill. How many of you ever seen a fat skeleton? Right here. I know, all right. Bud became ill, passed out, and I was there, and the doctor was talking to him. And Bud, I think, was going to go right back to same old eating habits and doing everything. You know, they said, look here, you are a diabetic. He said, now here's some of the side effects. You know, you could go blind, you can become an amputee. None of that touched him. He said, you can become impotent. He said, what did you say? Bud has lost weight. He exercises every day. He's into body sculpturing. 48 years young. He looks great. I can't believe it. But just that one statement made all the difference in the world. Bud is a new man today. So what is it that has to happen to you? Some people don't take corrective measures to improve their health until they get a pronouncement that they're about to die. Then they start, okay, all right, I'm ready to do whatever you want me to do. But they won't do that. They can see people drop it off like flies around them. Well, that's them. You got to go from something. We go through life really blocking ourselves constantly. And fear is one of the greatest instruments that we could use to stifle our true potential. When you begin to look at your life, you can decide to use fear as a blocker, or you can decide to use it as building blocks. That you decide, hey, look here, I'm going to move in this direction. I'm not going to allow anything to stop me from doing what I want to do. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, I'm unstoppable. See, when you begin to understand and acknowledge your fear, and you go forth anyhow, you go forth in a spirit and a knowing that there's a way that you can begin to handle this. There's a way out here somewhere. There's a solution. What it is that you're seeking, that you have the capacity to whatever comes up, to handle it, to face it. And rather than feeling powerless, you begin to feel powerful. See, when all of the major downsizings that are taking place around this country, there are a lot of people who are biting their fingers in fear that they might lose their jobs. But there are few people who have decided within themselves, I'm going to make it. Some people aren't waiting to be cut. Some people are moving on their own because they feel within themselves, I've got what it takes to make it. They're not afraid about tomorrow because of how they see themselves, because of what they feel that they deserve, because of what they feel that they can create for themselves. Because these people have decided, as they look at the future, as they look at themselves, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way for me to begin to create a way out of no way. And when you have that kind of consciousness, when you have that kind of spirit, nothing can stop you. Nothing. What would your life be like as you look toward the future if you decided, I'm not going to allow my fears to stop me? What would your life be like? What would your future be like if you decided, to want that which you desire so strongly that it prepares you past your fears, that you experience the fear, as the one book says, feel the fear and do it anyway. What would your life be like? And I'm saying to you that all of us who have been entombed by fear have the capacity to resurrect ourselves and to resurrect our dreams. All of us have the capacity to that. And you have, is it easy? No. It's not easy. Can I do it? Yes. What's one of the ways to get started? Some of us need somebody to hold our hands. Sometimes we need somebody to help us out. Be willing to say, I don't know. Be willing to reach out. Be willing to get some assistance to take you to the next level. What great athlete. You never expect boxers to make profound statements. I think it was Joe Frazier who said this one. He says, all of us are like the blind man at some point in our lives standing on the corner waiting for somebody to lead us across. So all of us at some point in our lives need some help, need someone to reach out to us, to throw out the lifeline, to help us go across some treacherous waters that we couldn't navigate by ourselves. None of us do it by ourselves. All of us at some point in our lives. We need that kind of help. We need that kind of assistance because we grow from the people we have in our lives that can enrich our lives personally, professionally, spiritually, and all the dimensions of our lives. We don't grow in a vacuum. So as you look at yourself, what are the fears you have that maybe you need some help in strengthening yourself in that area? As you assess your strengths and your weaknesses, as you begin to prove yourself and your passions and your dreams and your goals and the things that you want, if you decide to experience all of your true potential, as you decide to manifest all of your greatness, as you decide, wait a minute, what else is available to me out here if I decided to experience the fear of rejection, the fear of no, the fear of failure, the fear of standing by myself? What else is available? Of taking a chance, a fear of losing it all. What else is available to me that will bring some extra meaning and value? The fear of people not liking me. You know how many people do things they don't want to do because they want everybody to like them? Everybody's not going to like you. Excuse me, special announcement. Everybody's not going to like you. No, it's just not that kind of world. But you know, there are a lot of people who won't take positions on issues, who won't take a stand for things they believe in, who won't speak up for themselves because they don't want to make anybody mad. Oh, it was Bill Cosby. He said, I don't know what the secret of success is. He said, but here's what I know what the secret of failure is. He said, trying to please everybody. You can't please everybody. But there are people who have the fear of rocking the boat. So they just go alone in life, just go alone. Well, how do you feel? Well, I don't really want to say. How many of you know people like that? Raise your hand. These people aren't living life. They're not truly experiencing life. What do you really want to do? Well, I don't like this, but I guess I'll go ahead on and do. No! The life is too short for that. Too short and unpredictable, moseying through. Not trying to disturb anything, not trying to shake anything up, not trying to make any waves. You see, there are some people who come through the universe and their level of contribution and the level of energy they manifest is so small, so inconspicuous that when they go, you won't even know they left. I mean, there are people who die on jobs and you say, hey, where's John? Oh, John's been dead 6 months. You're kidding. No. Is that right? Yeah. I didn't know. Why didn't somebody say, well, I guess we didn't miss him. But there's some people, because of their personality, because of their contribution, because of the investment of their time and their energy and the impact they have there, that when they go, everybody will miss them. So when Mother Teresa checks out, everybody will know. When Rosa Parks, everybody will know. Nelson Mandela, everybody will know. Why? Because of their contribution. See, but there's some people, because their contribution is so small, no one will care. So I'm saying, before you are boxed and buried, decide that you're going to box and bury your fears. Decide that you're going to begin to live life on a new level, seeking out new horizons, that you're going to find more love and more joy and more ways to give more to life. Guy said something, I love this. He says, everything a man does for himself, guess what? He takes with him. But everything he does for others, he leaves behind. So when you begin to say, what is it that I want to leave? What contribution that I want to begin to make? What difference do I want to make in life? What is it that I want to do with the rest of the life that I have left? What chances I need to take? What risks do I need to begin to embrace? What fears do I need to step on? What areas of my life am I dead right now? What dream? You can either live your dreams or live your fears. You have got to get to a point where you say, I'm sick and tired of living like this. There's got to be more. That's when people go out and strike out on their dreams. That's when people get out of relationships where they're dying together rather than growing together. That's when they leave jobs. So where are you going? Away from here? I don't know. Do you have another job? No, I don't. How are you going to make it? I don't know, but I will. See, you will when you put yourself in that kind of situation. I'm reminded of two frogs that were hopping down the road, and they fell into a bottle of milk. And one was hopping up and down for a while, and he drowned. He just gave up. But this other frog just kept on kicking. He wouldn't give up. He just kept on kicking. And pretty soon he churned that milk into butter, and he walked on out. So I'm saying, when life catches you by the neck and blind slap you, whap, and knock you down, I said, just keep on kicking, you know. And you can kick on out of those circumstances, whatever they are, not be intimidated by them. Repeat after me, please. I'm going to keep on kicking. I'm going to conquer my fears. I'm never going to give up. Keep shaking somebody's hand on your right and left and say, keep on, keep it on. I tell you, one of the exciting things about life is you got to keep the child in you. Little children dream. We used to go to work with my mama, and we would be riding across Miami Beach. My brother and I would be arguing, that's my car. No, that's your car. That Rutabaga over there. Well, that's my house. Mama, tell me that's my house. I had that house yesterday. How many of y'all did that as kids? Raise your hand, But then as we become adults, life slaps you side the head a few times, and then you don't dream anymore, Bigger Thomas, in the book, The Invisible Man, I think it was, he said, the impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experience of life. And most people, ladies and gentlemen, have stopped living their dreams because of the lessons they've learned from life or things they've picked up, because we've only been born with two fears. The fear of a loud sound and the fear of falling. And all the other fears are fears we learn. Fears we pick up. Whatever you're scared of, little life, the value you brought to the planet, far more important. Whatever you're afraid of, you're stronger. So as we begin to look toward the future and look at what will it take for us to break through those fears, one, acknowledging the fear, knowing it's all right, some fear is healthy. Beginning to know that your dreams, your passions, your drive to achieve whatever it is you want, as it has more power and meaning, it will move you past your fears. As you begin to feel that you deserve it, your passion and goal is so strong, the fears won't matter. As you begin to trust yourself and put yourself in the situation where you have to make it happen, you will make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't believe this. I know this from my own life experience. I know that you've got greatness within you. I know that you have unlimited potential in you. I know that you have something to give to the universe that was not here before you showed up. Somebody said that life is God's gift to us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God. What kind of gift are you giving? And what kind of gift could you give if fear wasn't an issue? And I'm saying, you can have fears, but don't surrender. Don't let your fears have you. You're more than capable of making this your decade. This is Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy, Leslie Calvin Brown, saying, it's been a plum-pleasing pleasure, as well as a privilege. Thank y'all here.
Mm-hmm.